Hello, 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 and welcome to another session with myself, Alexandra McCue, courtesy of Odyssey The Platform, bringing you more knowledge and understanding into the world of colourology. And everybody goes through that, okay? So that's part of the session, is for you to learn how to pronounce the name, colourology. So we bring together numerology and colour therapy together to bring you colourology. And this week, we will be going into finding the perfect color match through your color frequency, which is rather exciting. Today, we are going to be going through how you can match up with the perfect partner, or at least understand how you and your current partner can get the best out of your relationship and out of each other. But a short introduction into what colourology is. Colourology is a fascinating and holistic approach to self-discovery. It's offering a transformative and in-depth understanding of our inner selves derived from the ancient practices of astrology and numerology. Astrology has obviously been here since the dawn of time. It's how we understand what's going on in Earth in terms of transits, but also in terms of the cycles that we're on, and us as human beings, how we're affected by our emotions. And so what they're doing in this day and age is coming up with new modalities that are able to give you a shortcut into understanding why you do things the way that you do. How helpful. Thank you very much. And the whole point of that is because we are at a point in time now where we're having to really do the work. I can just hear a storm in the background, so I'm just telling it to hold off, please. All right, we've got at least half an hour here. I'll see you afterwards. So the whole point of us understanding us a bit more and understanding other humans a bit more and doing the work is by helping the planet, is by helping us all collectively raise our vibration and ascend. On a smaller scale of all of the bigger stuff, we'd just like to get through the next day, right? We would like to get through the next day with ourselves and with our loving partners. And colourology helps you and empowers you to do that. You get to understand yourself vibrationally through frequency, to understand why your inner child behaves the way it does when you have to go through adversity. You can understand what kind of jobs that you need to go through because of the skill set that you have, because of the vibrational power you have within the color of your skill set, or what it is that you're heading towards in this life. Also your personality as well. So there are 4 areas that colourology talks about and goes into detail if you understand who you are. So it gives you that wealth of information. Today, we're going through your partnerships. And what we have to do first and foremost with everybody is to ensure that they understand how to calculate their colors. So we give a bit of time at this point in the session for everyone to understand how to calculate your own unique frequencies, finding out the 4 different colors that lay beneath the surface that you never knew were there until now. So you have your inner child, you have your skill set, as I said, your aspiring, and your personality. So the numeric day of your birth, month of your birth, and year of your birth each correspond to a different color frequency. If this number is above 9, add the numerals together to give a number from 1 to 9. Because as you can see on the side here on the screen, you have got 1 being the red. And if you were to look at your chakras, this would be the bottom color. So this would be your root chakra. And then it would be going to your orange, to your yellow, which would be your solar plexus, your heart, which would be the green, your throat, which would be the blue, your indigo, which would be your 3rd eye, and then your violet, which would be your crown chakra. Then you'd have magenta just above that, and then you'd have your gold just above that. And the gold all the way through to the red have different meanings, different frequencies, meaning they are different ways of dealing with things that are going on in your life. Fumbling for my words here, but it's your positive and your negative attributes, and they're all different between the colors. There we go. Congratulations. So for example, if you came into this world on the 23rd of the month, you add the 2 to the 3 to get the 5, And then 5, as you can see on the side there, would be your blue, would be the throat chakra. I do have to apologize because I do have a cat here that's been desperately asking for cuddles, but it's just going to have to wait. So if you do hear a meow, it is not me. So if we go on to the next stage, and our next page will tell us the example. So here we are. Is our example the 15th of the 11th, 1965. Do not ask me how old they would be here now. I'm not quick at maths, although I deal with numbers every single day. So our day, which is the 15th, we'd add that together, 1 and 5. It's going to give us 6. Then we would add the month, 1 and 1 together, that would give us 2. Then we would add the year together, 1 and 9. Now this is a shortcut for me. I always add the 1 and 9 together, which I know is going to give me a 10, and then I take away the 0. Then I've always got that hanging 1. So I know looking at 19 straight away, I've got 1 there. And then if I were to look at my 6 and my 5, I ignore the 6, so let's put it down to 5 because it's easier. So it's 5 and 5, which is another 10. Then I've got 2 hanging ones. So that would be 12. That's how I do it. That's my easy way of doing it. Everyone has their own way. So that would be a yellow. So if we were to add them together, all together, because some people can do that as well, then they are able to get their number there, which equals 11. So this is how they got their personality color. And their personality color is their 4th color out of all of the colors. So I've had some time now to work out what your personality color is. So we are now going to go into understanding how we can apply this with relationships and how it can help us. You see some very excited faces, I'm sure. So understanding your vibrational compatibility. It's offering a unique approach to understanding the compatibility. It's beyond what traditional methods can do, because it's having a deeper sense and understanding of who people are. And it's not something that you can usually have, you know, if you're going to a counselor or any other method that you choose that doesn't give you that internal lens, because it's able to then see all these attributes and how they would clash or how they would support each other. You'd be able to see the insights and how they align. So how you would also kind of pick out your potential partner. Trust me now. I have my friends flooding. I'm not joking. They flood my inbox. Oh, I'm seeing this new guy. Here, I've got his date of birth. We have a look for me. And they're wanting to know the insights. It's hilarious. So obviously I know their date of birth and they want to see how they work together. So that's always funny. It's also enhancing the quality of your relationship as well. So it's not just looking for this new partner. It's, some people say to me, because I'll go into it a bit later, it will show you that, oh, can you look for soulmates? I think it's literally on the next slide as well. But yeah, yes, there you go. It's soulmate potential. Yes, you can absolutely look for your soulmates. But some people get worried then. They're like, oh my goodness, my partner that I'm with at the moment isn't my soulmate, as you say. And that isn't the be all and end all of everything. You know, a harmonious relationship doesn't just happen because you're with the soulmate. Harmonious bond relationships can happen for many different reasons. And this is what the colors can help uncover. They can show you that. They can show you how you can work with each other's colors. If there's a bit more acceptance and understanding as to why, I'm going to use that name again, Gary, bless him, why Gary works the way that he does, because he's a logical person, then you can accept that. And you can work with Gary on those things. You know, I think half of the thing that we plague ourselves with when it comes to relationships is because we desperately want Gary to do things the way that we do. And why is that? Because a lot of it is brainwashed from the society that we live in. We've been conditioned to keep looking externally and outwardly through comparative means in social media, especially, of the way that people should and shouldn't be. Let's take, for example, a date night. Who implements a date night into a relationship? I don't. Not yet anyway, I might do. But there are those things that are out there. And so if you see a post from a friend that's like, oh, Gary, took me out on a date. Do you feel less? It depends how strong you are within yourself, but you could feel a little less because you've got that comparison. Oh, well, so and so does that. Yes, because he's of those colors that are very romantic that way. Maybe you need a bit more communication in your bond in order to bring that out of Fred or whoever you're with. Awful. Why can't I find normal names? Nothing wrong with Gary and Fred, I have to say. Love to you all. But here we go. So we've got, what's a distinctive approach of Colourology in helping you find your partner? Well, the distinctive approach is the way that we explore them. So we examine them and then we put them together by something called our wheel method, which I'll go into a little bit later as well. So we see how they manifest, such as an inner child, skill set, aspiration, personality. Because let me tell you, just because they've got a red inside of them and you might have something inside of you, doesn't automatically mean, okay, we're a great match. Or, oh my goodness, we should never be together because we'll clash, because I can't deal with your red. Because where the red is placed is going to be really significant. Again, I'm going to go into this a bit later because I've got some examples coming up to show you. Balancing and imbalance. So the analysis includes identifying any imbalances in the colors on each side. This is very, very important as well. So say, for instance, you're already coming to me for a reading and you have a discrepancy between each other, or there are some things within the inner child area and their color that's there that they haven't dealt with because of where they've been previously in their younger years, then that is obviously going to play out. Colors or not, that's going to play out. But what I'm saying is, through a Colourology reading, I'm able to tell you and show you how that imbalance will affect you and your colors, which does go back to the whole, we are in charge of our own emotions and our own healing. And if we do want to be in relationships, even a Colourology reading isn't going to tell you, you know, how to make everything absolutely perfect. Some of it is taking accountability, and some of it is obviously looking after our own things to make sure that we show up how we should. So, continued. We've got aligning aspirations and compatibility. This is really interesting as well. So we assess if your aspiration and goals align. It's really important to stress, it does not matter if they don't fully align anyway, okay? If you have two people who have colors who let's say, for instance, I can give you an example now. Let's say, for instance, we have a gold or a orange or even a magenta in the aspirations. So in this lifetime, those colors are about freedom. It's about working through things, letting go. It's about travel. It's about getting out there. Some of it could be a bit of a self journey in that sense. Then say, for instance, you put it with someone who's got, top of my head, let's say an indigo. So someone who has an opposing aspirations as an indigo might, operative word, might find it difficult to deal with that. The reason being is the indigo, and especially in the aspirations, is all learning about having a bit more structure and a bit more routine to their life. So if you've got someone whose actually aspirations is to be a bit more with freedom and being a bit out there, it could upset the equilibrium in the relationship, because those that are of the indigo can be like, oh, I don't, it's like the total opposite of what I need right now, right? If there is great communication, however, say, for instance, they've got a blue within there, or they have another gold in another area, or a violet, which is understanding, empathetic, or it's got a green, which is the nurturing, it's the understanding as well, because they've got their heart chakra, they lead with a chakra, that they lead with a, I was going to say an awful word. Amazing, I love that. Oh, we'll keep the bloopers in as well. then it means that there could be that discord. But as I said, if they've got those other understanding colors, then perhaps they just understand and they can work through that. Maybe the routine for that person in the indigo, in their aspirations, they can deal with that on their own, and they can let the other one have the freedom. You know, it's not a one shoe fits all kind of jobby. And this is the difference, you know, as much as I'm trying to teach as much as I can about Colourology through these little mini workshops online, it's nothing quite like a reading, because the reading is always going to be very personal. The reading is going to be using my spirit guides, and it is also going to be able to help paint your individual story with which works for you. Because as I said, I just gave you 2 scenarios. They could be one of those scenarios could be yours, or it could be totally different, and you won't know until you have that reading, because it's what's channeled through, and it's what's going to help you on your journey with your specific combination of colors and your where it is that you're meant to be going. So here we have the soulmate potential. As I was saying, the soulmate potential, soulmates, I need everyone to understand this. Okay, soulmates are not just your lovers. Soulmates can be in animals, soulmates can be in friends, soulmates can be in family. They're everywhere. Because the whole point of a soulmate is because it's someone that you've been in many different lives of before, because it's a recognized, familiar love and deep connection that you have. Sometimes, you know, especially with a newborn babies, there's a lot of people that have that. Oh, you know, I had that newborn baby in my hand, and I don't know. And let's say, for instance, a granddaughter, and you felt more connected to the granddaughter than you did your actual daughter, and you think, oh my God, I'm an awful person. It's like, no, not at all. That's your soul family. This one knows you, has known you for a long time. Okay. And that is because of the push and pull effect and the support that you have between each other in this lifetime. It does also mean there'll be some karma there that you're going to come through to clear. So soulmate potential, never ever get hung up on, okay, quickly do me a reading so I can find out if we're soulmates, because I get that all the time as well. I just want to know if we're soulmates. Are we soulmates? Oh no, we're not soulmates. I need to finish with them right away. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? Am I helping people, or am I destroying lives? I don't know. So it's not a necessity to know that. I mean, obviously it's a warming thing, but please do understand, I've just done a reading previous to this, 2 sisters. They were soulmates, and they at the moment couldn't stand each other. And it's been like that a lifetime. Yeah, it's been like that. And when I said you are soulmates, couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. But they're learning the biggest lesson from each other. And a lot of the time, that's what our soulmates are here to do. They're here to provide that space for you to do that. And frequencies alone, colors alone, that's what we're doing. Especially within families. We're all that push and pull deliberately. Oh, I thought we'd be similar. Oh no, you're the opposite. Yeah, because it's meant to jab you in there. You're meant to create that value and that understanding through the opposing or the supportive colors. So we decipher where you would naturally support and encourage each other, or possibly experience challenges. So if you have, and this is the funny thing, so even if you had, let's say a blue's a perfect example. You got the blue there within, and I'm going to go here actually to show you. So here we have the blue and the red. Now, if we have a blue within your skill set, let's say they are with someone who is in a red within their skill set. Let's say they've got a red within their personality as well. So they got a red in their personality and their skill set, and the other one has a blue within their skill set. Without looking at the other colors, and let's just go on this alone, the blue is going to be able to communicate how it needs to with the red. The red might get a little bit annoyed because the blue is chilled and it's in their skill set, right? So the red is going to be like, come on. And the blue is like, yo, yo, yo. need to take some time on this. Okay, I'm chill. I'm blue. It's the whole thing. I'm chill. It can antagonize the red, because being a double red here, we're very impulsive. We've moved on. We've dealt with it. Like, oh, you're still getting over that thing. Like, please. The blue is like, excuse me. I need to process this. So there could be a little bit of a clash there. There could also be a clash the other way around. You had the red within the skill set and the other partner was a blue personality. You could have the red wanting to deal with things, taking the leadership. Come on, we've got to do blah, 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 blah. And the blue is detached. The blue is running away. Because the blue is like, meh. Nonchalant is the best way that I describe it. And it's part of their protection. That's why they do that. The blues do it to protect themselves. They do not like anything unpredictable. Nah. They've got to know what's going on, because these are the people that see the truth in things. So sometimes they can be their own worst enemy, because they see the truth in things. They think they might know it already. So sometimes it's a bit difficult for them to understand that conversations are a two-way thing and it's not a one-way thing. And obviously the red is just like, I don't go enough. No, they either want to bolt that way or they just want to get it over them with it or whatever it is. So depending on where that is, can make a big difference. Let's change it around again. So imagine that the red is in the aspiring and the blue. Let's imagine this is all within one person and someone else is dealing with this within one person. So imagine you're neutral at the moment and you're looking at a person who has these two colors within their chart, and let's see where they're placed in how they would come across and how they would deal with things. So they have a blue personality and they have a red aspiring. So their blue, again, is a little bit nonchalant. It's a little bit cut off. They're very intuitive, very calm. They don't like the unpredictability of things. And this lifetime is asking them to step more into the red. So they're actually asking that. So sometimes you will feel people flit between the two, especially if you're on a growth journey with them within a relationship and you're growing old together, you will see them grow. And I think this is a big part to mention within relationships as well, is that when we're in relationships now, choosing the spiritual path, choosing more of doing the right things for yourself and your family and growth and such, you're going to want to choose the partner that you can grow with, not the one that's rigid or the one that's stuck in their ways. So I think it's very important when it comes to Colourology to understand that when you look at what they're aspiring to do is to help them with that and understand that too. So although you might have this nonchalant person because they're quite blue, is to understand that they are growing into more of a red and doing those things. So how would you help them? So within a relationship, maybe not doing everything for them. I mean, anyway, just that's a rule of thumb for everybody. Okay, don't do everything for everyone. But anyway, but let's say if you weren't doing everything for them and they were able to do these things for themselves, then they're going to learn. You're going to help them on their journey of growth. So long as you two can communicate, and they're blue, so they can communicate, let them know, look, I'm not going to do all these things with you, or for you rather, because I can see that you need to take leadership yourself, because that's what the red is standing for, is asking you to be a bit more stoic, is asking you to go on that self journey. So I'm not going to deter you. Don't use that as an excuse, by the way. I'm just not going to do these things for you, babe, because you've got to do them for yourself, you know. Don't use it as an excuse. But let's go on to another color for another example. So now we have the orange and the indigo. Now this is a very, very interesting color. And now I'm going to use a totally different example. Let's say this is mother and son. So if we have the orange as an inner child and we have the indigo as the skill set, heck, let's make it more intense. That's how I roll. So we've got the indigo within the skill set, and we have the indigo within the personality. So the mother is a double indigo. We're talking problems. Why? And that's me being very frank. Unless the indigo has been able to understand themselves and understand how they are and the way that they deal with things and understand what an orange needs, then there could be difficulty within this relationship. The orange child is going to need their freedom. That's what the orange stands for. It stands for its fluidity, its movement. It needs to be trusted. It needs its own integrity to be trusted, to be seen as able to be what they need to be. They need to find their character in things. It's very important for an orange. The difficulty that will be found within this kind of relationship is that the indigo, as the mother, will need to control every aspect of what's going on in the home. It's a very indigo way. The indigos thrive when they feel safe. And the only time that they do not feel safe is if they do not know what's going on. And so the only way they think that they know what's going on in order to feel safe is to control everything. Okay. Now, that's not me painting a bad picture for our indigos. That strength comes for many different things. Okay. But sometimes within the relationship, it can prove difficult. So you need to understand yourself being an indigo personality or within your skill set, that you do have this rigidness to you. And it's fantastic at getting the job done and what you need to do. But sometimes within close relationships, it can cause the discord because there are perhaps a bit too many rules for other colors and other frequencies to be how they should be. So a bit more acceptance and a bit more understanding on each part. This isn't just the orange, the indigo as well. The orange needs to understand, mum feels safe if I help her doing X, Y, Z. And if I communicate to her and say, look, I need to go and do this for myself today, then that's also taking responsibility and helping the relationship too. It's not just a one-sided thing. And I will say that about all the colors as well. Where I say positive and negative attributes, it is just the opposite. It's just opposites that we deal with in every single frequency. Okay? Because everything's perspective, isn't it? Now let's go violet and gold. This is interesting as well. So I actually have a client, and two of them have this color. So this is the mother again, and this is the child. So mother is a quadruple gold. They are gold in every single section. Okay. And that means when you do get more of one color in each category, it is amplified. It is like you are you through and through, you know. And so what the gold will feel when they're in all the areas of gold, yes, they are unconditional love and unconditional service, but they can be very detached. And they can be very detached because they have this higher knowledge without knowing that they have this higher knowledge. They just bird's eye view. They're up here. Not that they're looking down on everyone else. Hello, hi, I'm gold. It's more, they just get it. They've been here thousands and thousands of years. They've been here so many times. So working that many times through different perspectives and different bodies, you're going to get things a bit better than other people. And so it's going to look like you don't have the attachment to things. Oh, why don't you understand? Why? I do understand, but I understand perfectly well that you're the one that stubbed your toe. I'm not going to give you sympathy for that. That's just one small example. You know, sometimes someone could be crying to you because they've caused something themselves. And the gold's going to be like, oh, yeah, but, you know, I'm not going to sit there and baby you, let's put it that way. And sometimes that's what happens. The violet's dramatic. I am violet and I am gold. So I am both these things. Trust me, it's turmoil inside. So the violet is going to be super empathetic. And when you're super empathetic, you're super connected. You're picking up on everybody else's vibes as well as your own. You don't understand what's going on, especially if it's the inner child area. This is you as a child. It's too much to bear and too much to think of. Now, these people are looking for recognition. They are looking for the sympathy. The gold ain't going to give it. The gold's going to be like, come on, you know? So sometimes, it's funny because I went to go see my client. I went to go see my client and we worked out her colors. And the reason that she brought me around is because her lovely daughter, who's just turned 16, is now going down the experimental route. Is now going down the like, oh no, I've got, you know, these kinds of friends and that kind of thing. And we're like, oh my gosh. So I came in to understand everybody's colors to help them with their relationship. Okay. So when someone just thinks that so-and-so's acting out, they're being within their color, but their color is dealing with something the way that their color is dealing with, you know. And if you had that understanding, you'd leave it alone, right? Or you'd just be a little bit like, oh, okay, they're being a bit violent today. Not violent. If they were violent, it's a different story altogether. But they're being a bit violent today, then you'd understand. And it's funny. So I had come in and I'd given them both a reading, so I knew their colors. And the daughter was really upset, crying upstairs. She's just broken up with a boyfriend. And her heart is aching. And I think it's the 4th breakup as well, within a very short amount of time. So she's feeling it. And this is the problem is Violet. I don't know if you're in the last session as last week. Make sure that you do check out our videos if not. But within that session, we were talking about how a Violet needs recognition, and a Violet also needs to have absolute faith of their mission and where they are in life. And so she's imparted that within a relationship. She's trusted that person to give her that for herself. And then they break up with her. The Violet's in cahoots, okay? And it's within the inner child. So it's all really dramatic. And we went to the mum and the mum said, oh, just get over it. And I was like, oh God. Oh no, the gold's been unleashed. So I'm there coaching my client. I'm just saying, right, I'd understand why you'd say that, Mrs. Gold, but what we need to understand here is that, yes, you're right in your perspective to understanding it is something that, yes, she just needs to get over. But not, well, now we need to understand why the Violet isn't getting over it as such just yet. Okay. So with that little bit of understanding, there's been a bit more grace to this relationship and a bit more connection, now between between mother and daughter. And we already know any females in the room right now, that can be a challenge anyway, mother and daughter, which spans lifetimes. But hopefully in this lifetime, we do really start, and we have started healing the sisterhood wound. Please, just gonna put my teeth back in. Sisterhood wound in this lifetime. So this is a part that no one has seen yet. We've spoken about the colors. We understand a bit more importance to relationships of how we can help each other. And there's been a few examples in different parts. But now there is something coming up that you have not seen before. So the reds that are listening that are getting impatient, you've got some new information. So now we've got the unique approach in Colourology to helping you find your perfect partner. Another way is the wheel method. I certainly made that up. That's my name. I'm printing that, painting and tinting it. So the wheel method is utilizing the wheel method by marking a spectrum of colors from red to gold. And then we pinpoint each individual frequency and observe how the lines within the wheel intersect and coincide. This is a very important part of the reading when it comes to relationships. I always relate this part to imagine being going for a tea leaf reading, and they're reading the tea leaves in the bottom of the cup. It's a bit like that. So without further ado, I am going to show you. Ta-da! So now you understand. To everybody else, that looks like a bunch of lines, and it looks like half a star or a bit of a miffed star. Nonetheless, that tells me a lot of information. So I'm going to break it down for everybody to understand as well. And you can build this circle up with many different people in your life. It could be your family, your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your best friend. It could be the person that you work with, your partner, your married to, your ex, your children, everyone. Everyone can go into the circle and you can see how you can all mix together. You'll be able to see where your challenges are. You'll be able to see what's missing from the relationships as well. So here we have two people who are very, very much in love. The reason I say that is their soul line, by the way, the soul line is the dotted dashed line. That is your soul line. Your soul line is going to be what your personality is, okay? And the reason why I call it a soul line when we come to the meal method is because when these two dashed lines, your personality lines, soul lines, cross, that's how you know that you're a soulmate. So as you can see, these two are touching, and they're touching at the gold as well, which is beautiful. It's a really beautiful connection. You can tell that they are both learning from each other, more so this yellow line. So this yellow line at the bottom here, this is person number 2. Their line goes straight across the gold line. And that's because they are learning from them mostly, you can see. Whereas when you look at the gold line goes across itself, which means that it's learning from itself a lot of the time for its own self journey. So there's a lot of introspection there. There's a lot of mistakes that are being made by this person, and this person is being able to transcend it, transmute it, understand it themselves. So their self journey, they're learning through themselves. Whereas within this relationship, because that person is doing that, the other one with the yellow line down here is learning through them, is watching that journey and seeing that they're learning a lot through that. So what does it mean, some of these spokes that are going round? Well, they meet on the orange so they can understand each other, and they understand each other through their fluidity and their social. So the orange stands for a number of different things, but one of the things that it does stand for is the social element, supportive element. So I can already see that within this relationship, they are very supportive of each other because they both have that orange. So that orange is within them and it helps them within the relationship. It does also mean having the orange within this relationship here, both of them. They could find, depending where their balances are, that the orange can either make them hold on to too much stuff, or it can mean that they can let go, because the orange is the color that's associated with letting go of things. So either, again, being the opposite in every single thing, they can either hold on to things too much, maybe it's a grudge, or maybe it's things from the past, whatever it is, or they can let it go together. They also have the gold where they meet. And this is both their personality. So they are big humanitarian people, which is what the gold stands for, and unconditional love. So they love each other unconditionally. So there's a lot of respect there. So it means that a lot of things that they could go through, they can deal with. They can deal with, so long as they communicate. Now, if you look at the other things, this is another thing that this wheel method is able to teach me through these readings with people and the clients that I meet, is that there is one part down here that is missing. Well, there's a few, but this blue down here is missing. So that means communication. Now, they do have the gold, and the gold does encompass all of the other colors, so they could be able to communicate, depending if they're balanced enough. But it does mean that perhaps on the communication side of things is where they need to work on, because none of them touch it. 9 times out of 10, I will be going through a reading with someone, and this will already tell me, I'll see that's missed out, and I won't say anything at the start of it. I'll watch the reading roll out how it should, and then halfway through I'll be able to tell them, be like, look, it's clear that there needs to be some more communication. And I could see that right at the start because there is nothing on the blue. So you can see there. And even even if you look at these colors here, so you've got the indigo, violet, and magenta. All of them have blue in them. They have that blue because that's what makes up the violet and the magenta and the indigo. It's the red and the blue, and depending on how much you put in. And so they have, so one of them has that, which is the person number one. They've got some blue within the indigo. Funnily enough, this is the person who initiates the conversations. If they were to converse, it would be this person that initiates that, but the other one does not. And funnily enough, it's the other one who doesn't communicate. So it does tell me a lot, even those that you aren't touching with the spokes. If it's not touching color, it does tell me a lot. It does also tell me that this color here, person number one, the gold, they are more of a doing person as well, because they've got it within them, within their inner child, and they've got it repeated again within their skill set. So they are a doing person. They've got it within them to do so. But then they've got this beautiful balance as well, this one person in particular, person one, because they're orange. Oranges, yes, they're known for being fluid and freedom, but they're also known for being lazy. So they've got that balance to them. So I can already hear that some of their arguments might be a little bit like this. But when you look at the person two as well, you can see that they, with their green, is very understanding. So they're very nurturing. So while the other one's probably very, very impulsive and got to be doing this kind of thing. Oh, I'm busy, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Maybe not so much impulsive, but they're definitely the doing. The green and nurturing of the other one is able to understand their journey and is understanding how to help them relax, basically grounding them. So, and also when they paint pictures like this is really interesting too. When they paint pictures like this, you can tell a little bit more about the relationship as well. So you can see that, well, I can. This is the intuitive part of the read, is that this painting a picture of it being a star does a lot of the time shows the shielding, shows a shield. So if you look at things like the Star of David, if you look at even Metatron, if you look at a pentagram, it is to do with protection. It is to do with that shield. It's to do with the strength. And knowing these two clients absolutely is what they have as a partnership together in life. That's exactly what they have together, is a shielding, is a strength, is a protectiveness within each other. So it's crazy to think that this wheel method here, this circle full of lines, can tell so much about what's going on in the relationship. And it would be so intriguing as well to put more family members in there as well, because you can tell with other people how that pushes and pulls. So that this week, although this session feels a little bit quicker than the one before, because we've gone through the colors already, and we've had a few examples on this when we've gone to the wheel method, there is definitely more to come in the coming weeks. But there is so much jam-packed into these sessions. It is just information after information after information, and you could do it all day long. You really could. You could come to understand every single color to every single category of where they are to meet. But there are just some of what we have for this week. But yes, so that is where we have come to this week. And I am going to leave this open for questions afterwards, but this is for our recorded one. So I would just like to say thank you for so much for those that have come today. I have mixed my words up far too many times today. Okay, so I'm going to go take a drink of water and calm down. But I just want to thank you so much for coming along and spending some time with us and understanding a bit more about Colourology and how it can help relationships. And if you are interested, make sure that you do get in contact to book a reading, or stay tuned for more information that's going to come up in the coming weeks. And I will bid you good day, and I will see you soon. Thank you. Bye.